The offer letter said 6 figures. What it didn't say was that 6 figures at a firm like this buys you a desk, a laptop, and the privilege of working until the building empties. You passed the bar on your first attempt. Top 10% of your class. 2 clerkship offers declined for this. Nobody cares. At level 1, you are a research machine, a document reviewer, a site checker. You will spend 400 hours this quarter reading contracts that will never bear your name. The billing rate for your time is $350 an hour. You see none of it directly. The firm keeps the spread between what you cost and what you bill. That spread is how law firms work, and understanding it is the first thing they never explain. The work is relentless, not because it needs to be, because billable hours are the metric, and the metric shapes everything. You learn to bill correctly before you learn to think like a lawyer. 6-minute increments, everything rounded up to the nearest tenth of an hour. You stop thinking in hours, you start thinking in tenths. Level 1 ends when a partner first asks for you specifically, not because you're available, because you're good. The deal room is where the firm's money actually lives. Corporate transactions, mergers, acquisitions, capital raises, the work that generates the fees that pay the salaries that fund the research that supports the deals. You are the most junior person in this room. You know it. Everyone knows it. Your job is to be invisible and indispensable simultaneously. You manage the closing checklist, a document that tracks every item required to complete a transaction. Every item on that list belongs to someone. You track all of them. You absorb the blame when something is late. At 2 in the morning when the wire transfer doesn't clear and the closing is at 9, you are the one awake finding the answer. Not because anyone asked, because that is what being junior in a deal room means. The closing happens, the deal closes, the client celebrates. Your name appears on the tombstone, small, below several others, but there. The deal room teaches you something no classroom does. Speed matters more than perfection. Judgment matters more than knowledge. And the partner who trusts you with the next deal matters more than both. You start to understand the firm not as a place, but as a machine. And you start to understand where inside the machine you want to be. The partner you work for is a rainmaker. She doesn't just practice law, she generates business. Clients follow her, not the firm. If she left tomorrow, her book would leave with her. That's real power inside a law firm. Not title, not seniority, the client relationship. You have been assigned to her practice group. This is not an accident. You requested it. The work is harder. The hours are longer. The standard is higher. You draft client memos that the partner sends under her name. You prepare for client calls and sit quietly in the corner taking notes. You flag issues before she asks. One afternoon, the partner is pulled into an emergency. Another matter. She hands you the phone. The client on the line doesn't know you. You have 30 seconds to establish that this conversation is worth their time. You handle it. The partner hears about it from the client. The client says they were impressed. That moment is worth more than a year of closed deals. The Rainmaker's apprentice learns that law is not sold by the brief. It's sold by the relationship. By being the person the client thinks of first when something goes wrong. You start being introduced at events as the person handling the matter. Small distinction, enormous difference. The promotion to senior associate arrives in a letter from HR. The title changes, the work changes, but what really changes is the expectation. You are no longer being trained. You are expected to train others. The first-year associate who reminds you of yourself sits across from you with the same expression you had 4 years ago. You give her the explanation nobody gave you. At senior associate, the path splits. One direction, partnership track. Stay, build, make yourself indispensable to enough partners that the vote goes your way in 5 to 7 years. The other direction, lateral. Take the skills the firm paid to develop and sell them somewhere else at a premium. Both are valid, both have costs the firm doesn't mention. Partnership track means more years of proving yourself to people who are still deciding if you're worth the equity stake. Lateral means starting over in a new culture with no political capital, no matter how strong your technical skills. You stay, not because it's easier, because the partner you work for has begun to talk about the future in a way that includes your name. That changes the calculation. At senior associate, you begin to originate. Small matters at first. A referral from a friend, a startup that needs basic corporate work, a family connection who needs estate planning. None of it is impressive on its own. Collectively, it is the beginning of something the firm calls a book of business. The partnership vote is not a performance review. It is a political process dressed in the language of merit. Your billing numbers are excellent, your client feedback is strong. The partner you've worked with for 6 years has sponsored you. What you can't fully see is the conversation happening in that room. The partner from the litigation group doesn't know you. He votes on pattern, not on you specifically. The partner who lost a client last year to a firm you did work for has concerns. They are not stated directly. Your sponsor handles it. She has done this before. The vote passes. Not unanimously, but the majority holds, and that is what the rules require. You will be named partner at the end of the fiscal year. The economics shift immediately. You are now required to contribute capital to the firm, a significant amount, often financed through a loan from the firm itself, repaid through distributions. Partnership is not just a title, it is an investment. You are buying equity in the firm, and equity means your income is now tied to the firm's performance. Not your salary, or share of what the firm earns. Your name is on the wall, not metaphorically, literally. On the wall next to the elevator, in a building where you once waited for someone else to call you into the room. The economics of named partnership are different from what you expected. In a good year, you earn more than you imagined when you were billing your first tenths of an hour at $350. In a bad year, the firm's performance is your performance. There is no salary floor. There is a capital account that can be called. You manage a practice group now, not just your own matters. Other people's work, other people's clients, other people's problems becoming your responsibility. The first associate you hired sits 2 rows down. She is good. You see yourself in her, and resist the urge to tell her so directly. You originate $7 million in new business this year. That number is your leverage. Inside the firm, it determines your voice in the room. Outside the firm, it determines what you're worth if you ever decide to leave. The lateral calls start coming more seriously now. Other firms, in-house positions, general counsel roles at companies you've advised for years. You don't take them. Not yet. The firm is where your leverage compounds. But you keep the conversations going. Because at this level, the best negotiating position is always being willing to walk. The firm sees this. The managing partner sees it more clearly than anyone. The conversation is about the firm's future, about succession, about which partners are being built for what. At some point you stop working for the firm, and the firm starts working for you. The distinction is subtle from the outside. From the inside, it changes everything. You sit on the firm's executive committee. Compensation decisions, strategic direction, lateral hires, which practice groups get resources, and which get restructured. You are no longer a lawyer who brings in business. You are part of the institution that decides what kind of business the firm pursues. The associates who work for you now number in the dozens. You don't know all their names. But the ones who matter, the ones building towards something, you know exactly who they are. Because you were one of them. The clients you manage are no longer managed through a relationship, they are managed through an institution. Your name on the engagement letter means the client believes the firm's full weight is behind them. That is what you've spent 15 years building. Not expertise, weight. The financial picture at this level is no longer a salary, it's a portfolio. Equity in the firm, investments made from distributions, real estate, a deferred compensation structure designed by a tax attorney she trusts completely. She is not wealthy the way someone who inherited wealth is wealthy. She is wealthy the way someone is wealthy who built it one billing cycle at a time, one client relationship at a time, one vote at a time. There are things this cost that don't appear in any financial document. The years when the building was her primary relationship. The events she was billed for but not present at. The version of herself that existed outside this building, maintained with decreasing ease. She doesn't regret it. But she doesn't pretend it was free. Somewhere on a lower floor, a first-year associate is reading a contract that will never bear her name, wondering if this was the right choice. She will find out the same way everyone does, by staying long enough to understand what she's actually building. 7 levels, 1 building, 15 years. The law never changes. What changes is who you are inside it. Vault levels, new episodes every week.